Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge. This is what we're looking at today. This is a big chunk of a knife. I've had its sibling. This knife has a sibling, the D-165, and a couple other siblings that have sort of three straight angles on this blade, a flat and then an angle and then another angle up. You've seen that video. I no longer have the knife. Here's a picture. You can watch that video if you want, and that knife can still be bought in some places. This knife, the only place to get it right now that I've seen is Fast Tech. I'm sure you'll be able to find it on eBay or AliExpress or some of those other places that I tend to not want to shop at, simply because any vendor can go on there and sell stuff, and I've just been ripped off too many times on those kinds of selling sites. So I don't tell people not to shop there. It's just I personally recommend to buy from stores like GearBest or Fast Tech, or stores like that. And this is a Fast Tech item right now. GearBest does not have it. I think they've had it in the past though. But if you want this, they've got it, and it's a pretty cool knife. Now, I've got a bit of a problem. Well, not really a problem. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I've got more fixed blades than this that I've not, some that are still upstairs that I've not yet reviewed, that I need to review. So let me know in the comments below if you mind if I do more than one fixed blade video a week. So far, I've basically been doing fixed blade Fridays, and if you don't mind for a little while having more videos of fixed blades, let me know, and I'll catch up on these. Or which of these do you really want the most? This is a cheap little no-name one, so you probably won't remember. This is the F001 Brother. This is HX Outdoors TD-08. Yeah, I got that right. And this is the Ella Olive by Puma. I really like this little guy. This is an awesome knife. Best sheath of the bunch too. Or this Condor Huron. Very, very nice stuff. So which one do you want to see next? So now let's just get our camera set up over top of our tabletop, and we're going to take a good close look at the D-169 by HX Outdoors, coming at you right now. So there's the full-size blade. Let me compare it with something for you. I'm hoping this review will come out tomorrow. This is a Y-Start knife that I got. Oh, I forgot the number exactly. It's got VG10 steel, titanium handle scales. This is almost exactly the same as this knife in terms of its actual lengths. Blade length is, cutting edge is about the same. Handle length is about the same. A little more handle room on this one actually, but this one's got a forward choil. So it's a full-size knife. This knife is 3.9 inches, and so it's a big knife. So this fixed blade is also a big knife. Here's a very common size folding knife. This is, just a little over 3 inches in the blade. Pivot point and matching up with that screw there. So that's a basic EDC size knife. My hands are large, bordering on extra large, so that might give you a little bit of an idea. Whatever size your hands are, that's between 10 and 11 in the European sizes. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how big this knife is. I'll give you all the dimensions later on. What we've got is a very slight drop point. This isn't straight back. It does drop down here. We've got a swedge that they've milled in. We've got a nice bevel that you can see the grain lines on it. We've got a black acid wash or black stone wash on the flats. That's done fairly well. And my fingerprints just show up everywhere. Nice bevel grind. This is a saber grind, which means a flat grind that doesn't go all the way up. And then we've got the final grind back here. Now, I fixed this knife, the cutting edge, before I started doing the regular measuring of the final grinds of the blade. So I don't have it written down what this one was. but it was, you know, fairly steep. Right now, what I've ground it at, I ground the main final grind at 20. And then what I did was I took another grind at it at 20, was it 24 or 25, where I did the final micro grind. So I'll show you a picture of what that means. You know, the edge was coming like this, and then now I took off just a little bit more at the tips. Maybe that's, if I can draw straight lines across that. Slight angle, so main bevel at 20, and then a tiny little extra angle right at the tip. That's how that edge is, and it is super durable. I mean, this thing, you can baton 2-inch boards or logs or branches all day long with this. A little bit, maybe 2.5 inches, any bigger, and you just don't have enough knife. You want to use just this flat area here to go through. So you can whack on this all day long because you got 5mm thick stainless steel right here. And well, they say it's D2. Sorry, so it's not stainless steel. HX Outdoors is believable. When they say it's D2, it very, very likely is the Chinese equivalent of D2. And in my tests with this, I reasonably believe that it's D2. But D2 does have quite a lot of chromium in it. It is almost a stainless steel. It's just a little bit shy on the chromium to be called a stainless. Okay, that's the blade. Then we've got this forward choil here. A little bit of jimping right there. And your finger can sneak up in there, and your thumb up here in the back with that huge jimping. And you can actually surprisingly do fairly good little delicate work with this. Let's see if we can cut through this rope while it's on camera. I have a tendency to go off camera, and I'm wiggling it, and I'm not getting quite right where I want to be. There we go. I was trying really hard just to push straight through and not pull side to side, but see, it cut that. That's pretty good. It cuts easier than you might think. I've already got arthritis in my hands, and I don't have an awful lot of strength, so that I just want you to know that it actually cut that fairly well. Paper. You can hear how quietly it's cutting that. So that micro beveled edge that we have on there, not a problem for cutting paper. So it's a nice sharp edge. And so we've got a drop point, sharp edge. Rockwell on D2 is usually around 58. It can be a little bit more or less. The sheath system is Chinese equivalent of Kydex, and their rip-off version of the Tech Lock, or their copied version, that's what I should say. And that's just a plastic of some sort, and that Kydex works quite well. Retention's okay, with a little bit of noise, but you can stick stuff in the bottom there to help take that away. And it's fairly well made. You know, decorative effect with those little notches pulled out on there. And you've got room to put this lock on either side, and up or down. So the main thing that I dislike about this system is not really how this system works, because it actually works quite well. You've got adapters that you can modify. Here's one that you can pull this. Wait, is that the one that fixed? No, that's the one you can take out. There we go. Sure, go fly and see if I care. Where did it end up? So if you have a narrow width belt, you know, it was at the end there, you can put it, you know, to the next spot or the next spot down so that your belt will sit in here, or whatever width that is. And that will stop the whole system from torquing on your belt. So that's a good option. And if it's even bigger, you just get rid of the thing completely. And very versatile in where it mounts onto. It clips on pretty good. And then you've got this extra locking system. I don't have a problem with that part. What I don't like is when I'm carrying my knife, that the handle is way higher up on my waist. You know, my head's over on this end and my feet are on this end. So this is my belt at my waist. It's even higher up on my side, the handle is. I much prefer something like this Condor here, where your belt is up here and your handle is this long. So your belt and handle are same as high on your waist. And so this is lower down on my body Makes it easier to grab it and use it. And so I like this kind of sheath a whole lot better just because of that. So there are other ways to adapt this. I could just, take this off completely and screw on or somehow attach a system that has a belt loop up here. But that's work and stuff. I wish they would have done a different hanging system on this. But other than that, it's not bad. I don't mind it. Put that aside. And now let's talk about the dimensions of everything on this thing. So what we have is a cutting edge of 9.9 centimeters, 3.9 inches. And the blade length, so the end of the G10 to the tip of the blade, is just a bit more, 10.1 centimeters, 4 inches. Like I said, the thickness is 5 millimeters. That's 0.1965. So almost a fifth of an inch, a little less than a quarter of an inch. The blade depth, that's this measurement here, 4.7 centimeters. That's 1.85 inches. That's huge. And yeah, that's all this big, thick weight, 5 millimeter thick everywhere it's black. A lot of weight. The thickness of the edge behind the grind right there is almost a centimeter, 0.94 of almost a millimeter, 0.94 of a millimeter. That's 0.037 inches. So that's pretty chunky. You can put your hand in this knife, and with all the weight of this thing, you can use it to chop a little bit. Anything extensive, and you're going to get super tired super quick, but you can chop for a little while. You would just want more weight out further if you really wanted to chop for any length of time. The handle length is 12.6 centimeters. That's 4.96 inches. So 4 inches, 5 inches. That's not bad. That's a good ratio between the blade and the handle. The handle thickness is 2.5 centimeters. That's 0.98 of an inch, so almost an inch thick this way. And this way, right here, is where it's largest. It is 3.1 centimeters, which is 1.22 inches. So you've got a big, chunky handle here, and it's all that milled G10. You've got extra lines milled in here, very good grip in the hand, and you've got 3 steps for the depth this way. Well, as it's coming down, it just feels awesome in the hand. You get, at least somebody with hands my size, this thing just feels very, very good. You've got metal full tang all the way to the end right there, and a lanyard hole here with some jipping on the back of it. Quite nice. So if you needed to use this end as a persuader, that can certainly work as well. You could even, sand off the G10 to an angle here to expose just the steel, a smaller point. That's certainly a good option. And if you actually wanted to use it in a tactical situation, but I don't call this a tactical knife, even though it says right there, tactical knife, Mercenaries tactical knife. This is not a tactical knife. This is a fantasy knife in the tactical style. A true tactical knife, this kind of weight is just too much to handle quickly. Oh, by the way, let's do the rest of the measurements here. The grip area right here is 9.1 centimeters, 3.6 inches, and the total length of this knife is 9 inches. Oh, I forgot to convert it to centimeters. Well, it's on the screen right here how many centimeters that is. It's around 23 or something, I think. Yeah, like I was saying, this is a fantasy knife. With the amount of weight that this is, and you're supposed to say, how much weight is it? 354 grams, 12.45 ounces, 12.5 ounces for this. You add the sheath in, and you've got 15 ounces, 425 grams. So if you got all this weight right in your hand, that's a lot of weight, and it's going to slow down your hand action, your arm movements by a fair bit. And that's why I call it a fantasy knife. How much does this knife cost? Well, Fast Tech has it in stock right now. They charge no shipping. I think they've got a 10% off sale going right now for knives, outdoor knives. So hopefully 10% off will apply to this at checkout for you. $44.18 US, $55.22 Canadian, 37.55 euros, 33.13 British pounds, 57.43 Australian dollars, or 4,859.8 yen in Japan. And those are all the prices, the types of dollars or the types of currencies that FastTech deals with. So there you go. Pros and cons on this thing, special features. I like this forward choil. I like how the grip is designed. They've done a great job milling out the G10. Very comfortable in hand. Reverse grip is quite good. And the other grips also, a pinch grip up here for controlled stuff. Forward grip in that forward choil, awesome. With or without gloves, works just fine. So it handles surprisingly well, but it is quite heavy. Pros, its looks, I think it's got pretty cool looking looks. It looks dangerous. With a nice belly, it's actually quite functional, much more so than the one that's got the 3 angles, in my personal opinion. And basically, it's a decent knife to goof around with, and it's a fantasy knife. It's a knife to enjoy and play with. The only thing I'd change, well, not the only, the first thing I'd change in a hurry is this right here. Other than that, it's a pretty good. You get a good deal for how much you pay, and that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who simply lets the advertisements play, because that helps me out as well. And go ahead and check out below the video. That's where I've got the links. And expand that area, and you'll see the links there and the links that I have for other stuff and other info. I've got a Facebook page and my Instagram. I just have not been using it enough lately. I promise that I'll get some more pictures up there soon for those of you guys who like Instagram. So remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye now.